You are making a massive psychological mistake right now. You think that reacting to disrespect proves you are a strong man. You believe that putting someone in their place earns you dominance and respect. But you are completely wrong. You are playing a rigged game designed entirely for average minds. What if I told you that the ultimate display of absolute power is silence? Welcome to the art of ignoring people. Today, we are going to break down 8 brutal lessons that will shield your inner peace and protect your energy permanently. This is not for everyone. This knowledge belongs exclusively to the top 1% of men who truly understand emotional control. If you are tired of being drained by toxic people, weak mindsets, and useless drama, you need to listen very closely. Your reality is about to shift. Drop a comment below right now and tell me, what is the one thing that drains your energy the most? Let us separate the emotional from the elite. Let us look at the reality of the problem. The modern world is systematically designed to steal your focus. We live in an era where everyone demands a piece of your mental energy. Your phone is constantly buzzing. Co-workers are complaining. The culture thrives on outrage, endless drama, and constant reaction. As a man navigating this daily chaos, your character is constantly being tested. The core issue is not the noise itself. The noise will always be there. The problem is your participation in it. Every single time you engage with useless drama, every time you let another person dictate your emotional state, you are bleeding out. You are voluntarily giving away your life force. You become a mere puppet, and anyone with a cheap insult or a demanding attitude gets to hold your strings. This is a severe crisis of emotional control, but there is a way out. We are talking about modern stoicism. No ancient history lectures. No quotes from dead emperors. We are talking about your life today. You need to build an impenetrable fortress around your mind. You need to master the art of selective ignorance to survive and conquer. Let us dive straight into Lesson 1, the illusion of the required reaction. Most men walk through life believing they are legally obligated to respond to every stimulus. Someone throws an insult. You feel the burning need to defend your honor. A co-worker makes a passive-aggressive comment. You start formulating your witty comeback. This is a psychological cage, carefully designed for the average mind. Society has conditioned you to play a relentless game of emotional ping-pong. They serve a provocation and you blindly hit it back. But what if you simply put the paddle down? Think about it. Every time you react, you are reading from their script. You are stepping directly into their frame. The elite man understands a fundamental truth. Your attention is your most valuable currency. It is highly finite. You are actively choosing to bankrupt yourself every time you engage with meaningless noise. This is not about being passive. It is about being impenetrable. When you choose to ignore someone, you are not surrendering. You are stripping them of their weapon. You are looking at their chaotic energy and deciding it is not worthy of your inner peace. That is the ultimate display of a strong character. You must unlearn the instinct to bark back at every stray dog that barks at you. Let them bark. The lion does not turn his head. He keeps walking. This is the foundation of modern self-discipline. Continuing with this illusion, we must address the concept of equalization. You see, the exact moment you react in anger, you become an equal to the person provoking you. You lower your status to match theirs entirely. Let that sink in for a moment. Is the man cutting you off in traffic your equal? Is the toxic individual seeking cheap drama your equal? By engaging, you validate their existence and their behavior. You essentially tell them that they are important enough to alter your emotional state. The true Stoic completely rejects this premise. He operates on an entirely different frequency. This brings us to a crucial myth we must shatter right now, the myth that ignoring people makes you look weak. The average man fears that silence will be interpreted as cowardice. He thinks he must show his teeth to prove he is dangerous. But true power does not need to constantly advertise itself. Silence is deeply intimidating. It leaves the aggressor swinging wildly at the air. It creates a massive void, and human beings are absolutely terrified of the void. When they throw their negativity at you and it hits a solid brick wall of absolute indifference, they are left alone with their own toxicity. This is what separates a truly strong man from the rest. This leads us directly into Lesson 2, Silence as the Ultimate Weapon of Power. We are taught to use our words to solve problems, but in the realm of emotional warfare, your words are exactly what your opponent wants. They want the data. They want the emotional reaction. They want to know they have struck a nerve. When you offer them silence, you deprive them of oxygen. Imagine a fire. A fire needs oxygen to burn. Your reaction, your anger, your justification, that is the oxygen. When you deploy the art of ignoring, you are throwing a vacuum over the flames. It suffocates instantly. The elite man uses silence strategically. He does not stay quiet because he does not know what to say. He stays quiet because he knows that anything he says will be a waste of his premium energy. Think about the most powerful men in any room. They are rarely the loudest. They speak the least. But when they do, the room listens. Their silence is heavy. It commands respect. When someone tries to disrespect you, and you simply look at them, acknowledge their presence, and give them absolutely nothing in return, you destroy their reality. You prove that they are entirely irrelevant to your mission. Let us explore the mechanics of this silence further. When you ignore someone effectively, you are forcing them into a state of hyper-reflection. Without your reaction to bounce off of, their insult or their drama reflects straight back onto them. Have you ever noticed how uncomfortable people get when you do not answer their provocative questions immediately? They start stuttering. They try to fill the gap. They expose their insecurities. Your silence acts as a massive mirror. It is a brilliant psychological tactic. You do not have to lift a finger to win the battle. You simply have to refuse to participate in it. This requires an immense amount of self-control. The primal part of your brain will scream at you to fight back. It will tell you that your ego is taking a hit. But the elite man overrides his primal brain. He understands that his ego is an internal construct, not something that can be damaged by the meaningless words of an outsider. You must train yourself to find comfort in the uncomfortable pauses. When the disrespect comes, take a deep breath, hold your frame, and let the silence do the heavy lifting for you. This is the hallmark of a deeply rooted, strong character. Now we enter Lesson 3, Identifying and Defeating Emotional Vampires. You know exactly who these people are. They are the chronic complainers, the drama seekers, the perpetual victims. They do not want solutions to their problems. They want a dumpster to pour their toxic waste into. And if you are not careful, you will become that dumpster. Emotional vampires operate by extracting your energy to fuel their own chaotic lives. They are highly skilled at pushing your buttons to guarantee a reaction. But here is the secret that the 1% of men understand. Vampires cannot feed on a stone. When you learn the art of ignoring these individuals, you are essentially starving them. You are cutting off their food supply. They will try everything to bait you back in. They will use guilt. They will use anger. They will accuse you of being cold or heartless. Do not fall for the trap. Your emotional stability is your primary responsibility. You owe no one your energy. Treat your attention like a highly exclusive club. Not everyone gets past the velvet rope. If someone brings nothing but chaos and drain to your life, their access must be permanently revoked. The danger of the emotional vampire is that they often disguise themselves as friends, family members, or colleagues. They manipulate your sense of duty. This is where you must be ruthless. Ignoring does not always mean physically walking away or never speaking to them again. Sometimes it means practicing emotional withdrawal. You can be in the same room as a vampire, hear their words, and give them absolutely zero emotional resonance. You nod, you give short answers, and you mentally disconnect. You build an invisible glass wall between their chaos and your peace. This is what modern Stoicism is all about. It is being in the world but not infected by it. When you stop giving vampires the rich emotional reactions they crave, a beautiful thing happens. They get bored. They realize that the well is completely dry, and they move on to find an easier target. You must embrace the fact that you cannot save everyone, and it is not your job to fix broken people who refuse to fix themselves. Your only job is to protect the empire of your own mind. Let them seek their validation elsewhere. You are closed for business. This brings us to a vital distinction in Lesson 4, the difference between strategic ignoring and cowardly fleeing. Many weak men try to adopt stoicism as a mask for their fear. They run away from necessary conflicts, avoid difficult conversations, and call it preserving their peace. That is a lie. That is weakness disguised as wisdom. The elite man does not ignore people out of fear. He ignores them out of strategy. The difference lies in the internal state. When a coward ignores a problem, his heart is racing. He is filled with anxiety, and he is hoping the problem disappears. When a strong man ignores a provocation, his heart rate is completely steady. He looks the problem dead in the eye and consciously decides it is not worth his engagement. He chooses his battles with surgical precision. If a conflict threatens your core values, your family, or your physical safety, you step up and you crush it. But if the conflict is just noise, ego, and petty drama, you withdraw your attention entirely. You must be brutally honest with yourself. Are you walking away because you're afraid, or are you walking away because you are superior to the situation? The answer determines your true strength. To master strategic non-engagement, you must develop a powerful physical presence. Your posture must communicate that you are ignoring them by choice, not by compulsion. Stand tall. Maintain eye contact just long enough to show you are not intimidated, then slowly look away. This subtle shift in body language is devastating to an aggressor. It says, I see you, I process your threat level, and I categorize you as harmless. This is the absolute peak of emotional control. It is easy to shout. It is easy to throw a punch. Any fool with adrenaline can do that. But to stand in the face of absolute disrespect, maintain a rock-solid posture, and decide to give the aggressor absolutely nothing, that requires a forged iron will. It shows that you are the master of your internal domain. You are the architect of your reality, and you do not let uninvited guests redesign your floor plan. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. You will start to view these provocations as tests. Every time you successfully ignore toxic bait, you level up. You earn a new stripe in the hierarchy of mental dominance. Lesson 5 is about filtering the noise of modern life. We live in an information age which is actually a distraction age. Every single day you are bombarded with opinions. The news tells you what to be angry about. Social media tells you who to hate. Co-workers tell you how to feel about the boss. It is a massive, swirling tornado of garbage. The 1% of men have developed a highly sophisticated filtration system. They treat 99% of opinions as background static. Think about a radio tuned to a dead station. You hear the hiss, but you do not try to decode it. You just ignore it. You must apply the same principle to the opinions of people who hold no weight in your life. Why would you allow a stranger on the internet or a toxic neighbour to penetrate your mental fortress? Their opinions are incredibly cheap. They cost nothing to produce, and they are worth exactly nothing. Yet average men collect these opinions like rare coins, carrying them around and letting them weigh down their pockets. You must ruthlessly purge this habit. Stop assigning value to the valueless. The devaluation of opinions is a superpower. When you truly internalize that most people are lost, highly emotional, and projecting their own insecurities, you stop taking their words personally. When a man insults you, he is rarely talking about you. He is broadcasting his own internal misery. He is showing you exactly how much he hates himself. Why would you take offense to a man confessing his own weakness? Once you see it this way, ignoring them becomes incredibly easy. It almost becomes a source of amusement. You watch them throw their tantrums, and you remain completely untouched. You must establish a highly exclusive board of directors for your life. This board should consist of a very small number of people whose opinions actually matter. Your mentors, your trusted brothers, your deeply committed partner. That is it. Everyone else is a spectator in the arena. And the gladiator in the arena does not take advice or criticism from the crowd eating popcorn in the cheap seats. You filter out the roar of the crowd and you focus entirely on your mission. This is the essence of maintaining your inner peace. We now arrive at Lesson 6, reclaiming your mental real estate. Ignoring someone in the physical world is only half the battle. The real war is fought inside your own head. How many times have you walked away from an argument, physically ignoring the person, only to spend the next 24 hours arguing with them in your mind? You replay the scenario. You invent perfect comebacks. You get angry all over again. If you do this, you have not ignored them at all. You have actually given them VIP access to your brain. You have allowed them to set up camp in your mental real estate, entirely rent-free. The elite man understands that physical distance is useless without mental eviction. You must serve an eviction notice to toxic thoughts. The moment you catch yourself ruminating on a past disrespect, you must aggressively interrupt the pattern. You must say to yourself, "No, I am not spending my premium energy on this ghost." But it takes discipline. Your mind will want to go back to the drama because the brain loves unresolved conflict. But you must train your mind like a muscle. You yank the leash and bring your focus back to the present moment. This rumination trap destroys more men than actual physical defeat. It rots your resilience from the inside out. To truly evict these people from your mind, you must replace the thought, not just suppress it. When the memory of the disrespect pops up, immediately pivot your attention to your purpose. Think about your business, your training, your goals. Overwhelm the toxic thought with massive, constructive action. Over time, the neural pathways dedicated to that toxic person will literally wither and die. They will cease to exist in your reality. This is how you completely erase someone from your life. Not by shouting at them, not by blocking them on social media while secretly checking their profile, but by rendering them entirely obsolete in your mind. They become a zero, a non-entity. When you achieve this level of mental control, you become virtually untouchable. People can try to manipulate you, they can try to insult you, but they will bounce off your consciousness like bullets off an armoured tank. You own your mental real estate, and you decide exactly who gets a key. Lesson 7 is the physical manifestation of this mindset, the power of the blank stare. Body language speaks volumes before you ever open your mouth. When someone tries to aggressively engage you, your natural instinct is to show emotion on your face. You might sneer, frown, or widen your eyes. Every micro-expression is a piece of data that you are handing over to the enemy. The highest level of ignoring someone is stripping away all physical reactions. You master the blank stare. This does not mean looking like a robot. It means looking at them with the calm, detached observation of a scientist watching an insect in a jar. Your facial muscles are relaxed. Your breathing is slow and deep. Your eyes are completely dead to their emotional bait. When a highly emotional person is met with a completely blank, relaxed face, it shatters their rhythm. They do not know how to process it. They are expecting a dramatic movie scene, and you're giving them a brick wall. This physical non-reactivity is a profound display of male psychology and strength. Controlling your micro-expressions takes practice. Start small. When something mildly irritating happens, consciously relax your jaw, drop your shoulders, breathe through your nose. Do not let the irritation manifest physically. Once you master this in low-stakes situations, you can deploy it during high-stakes disrespect. Imagine a toxic co-worker trying to publicly embarrass you in a meeting. Instead of getting defensive, you simply stop what you are doing, look at them with a relaxed, unblinking stare, and hold the silence for 3 full seconds. Then, without addressing their comment at all, you return exactly to what you were saying. The psychological damage you will inflict on them in those 3 seconds of dead silence is monumental. You have publicly minimized them. You have shown the entire room that their attempt at dominance was so pathetic, it did not even warrant a flinch. This is how you win without fighting. Your physical detachment proves your emotional superiority. You become a master of the unsaid, commanding respect through absolute stillness. Now we reach the pinnacle. Lesson 8. Weaponized peace. We often think of peace as a passive state. We imagine sitting under a tree, meditating, avoiding the harsh realities of the harsh world. But in the realm of modern stoicism, peace is not passive at all. It is a highly offensive weapon. Your calmness is the ultimate shield and the ultimate sword combined. When someone tries to drag you into their chaotic storm, they expect intense resistance. They desperately want you to fight back, because your resistance validates their attack. But when you meet their chaos with absolute weaponized peace, something incredible happens. They completely lose their balance. It is as if they are trying to push with all their might against a heavy door, but the door suddenly vanishes into empty space. They fall flat on their face. This is what distinguishes the elite man from the emotional amateur. You are not just ignoring them. You are actively weaponizing your internal stability to destroy their frame. You are showing them that their most aggressive efforts cannot create even a single ripple in your pond. This is terrifying to an unhinged person. It proves, without a single word being spoken, that you are the superior force in the interaction. You have mastered your domain. Cultivating this inner fortress requires daily dedication. It requires you to stop seeking external validation and start sourcing your power from within. When you know exactly who you are, what your values are, and what your mission is, the opinions and disrespect of others simply cannot penetrate the armor. Weaponized peace is the ultimate revenge against anyone who tries to bring you down. They want to see you suffer. They want to see you lose control. By remaining perfectly calm and continuing to elevate your own life, you deny them their prize. You let them drown in their own bitterness while you sail forward. Your success, coupled with your absolute indifference to their existence, is the most lethal response possible. It is the signature move of a truly unbreakable man. We must also apply these principles to intimate relationships and dating. This is where many men completely fail. They can hold their frame at work, but the moment a romantic partner tests them, they crumble. Disrespect in a relationship often starts small. A snide comment, a test of boundaries, an unnecessary drama. The average man reacts by arguing, pleading, or trying to logically explain his side. This is a fatal error. When a woman tests your emotional center, she's not looking for a debate. She is subconsciously looking to see if you're a solid rock or a crumbling sandcastle. When you argue, you prove you are sand. When you utilize the art of ignoring the drama, you prove you are rock. If disrespect occurs, you do not throw a tantrum. You simply withdraw your attention. You remove your presence. You let her sit with the consequence of her behavior without you saying a single angry word. Attention is the currency of relationships. When you cut off the funding, the behavior corrects itself, or the relationship ends. Both outcomes are victories for the strong man. Setting boundaries through absence is profoundly powerful. You do not need to deliver a dramatic monologue about how you deserve respect. Your actions must dictate the terms. If a situation becomes toxic, you physically remove yourself. You go to the gym, you work on your business, you read a book. You completely ignore the bait. This shows an incredibly high level of self-respect. It communicates that your time and your peace are far too valuable to be wasted on petty squabbles. The women who are worth your time will deeply respect this boundary. They will recognize the strength of a man who cannot be easily swayed by emotional storms. The toxic ones will rage and eventually leave, which is exactly what you want. You are using the art of ignoring as a natural filtration system for your life. Only those who bring peace, value, and respect are allowed to stay in your proximity. Everyone else is silently escorted to the exit. You do not negotiate your standards. You enforce them through your powerful, deliberate withdrawal of attention. As you integrate these 8 lessons into your daily life, you will experience a massive paradigm shift. At first, it will be difficult. Your ego will scream for blood. Your old habits will try to pull you back into the mud. But as you hold the line day after day, you will feel a new type of power growing inside you, A cold, calm, heavy power. You will walk into rooms differently. People will sense that you are not a man to be trifled with. You will no longer be easily triggered by the news, by traffic, or by fools. Your energy levels will skyrocket because you are no longer bleeding out from 1,000 tiny emotional cuts. You will have more focus for your wealth, your fitness, and your true purpose. The Stoic man does not lack emotion. He simply chooses exactly where to invest it, and he refuses to invest it in the garbage market of other people's drama. You are literally reshaping your reality by changing what you choose to acknowledge. You become the master director of your life's movie, cutting out the bad actors and terrible scripts without a second thought. This is the final test of your resolve. The world will constantly try to drag you back down to the level of the average. The Matrix wants you emotional, reactive, and weak. A reactive man is a controllable man. A man who buys into outrage is a man who can be sold anything. By mastering the art of ignoring, you are actively rebelling against a system designed to keep you small. You are stepping entirely out of the matrix. You are claiming your spot in the top 1%. Let the rest of the world argue in the comment sections. Let them destroy their blood pressure over things they cannot control. Let them scream into the void. You will be sitting in your fortress, building your empire in absolute silence and peace. You have the blueprint. You understand the psychology. The only question left is whether you have the discipline to execute it. The next time the world tries to provoke you, remember the power you hold. Breathe. Hold your frame and let the silence do its devastating work. You are untouchable. We have reached the culmination of our journey together. You now possess the ultimate blueprint. The 8 lessons we have unpacked today are not just philosophical theories. They are highly tactical tools for survival and dominance in a world that constantly begs for your reaction. The main takeaway you must engrave in your mind is this: your energy is the most precious resource you have. Never hand it over to people who have done absolutely nothing to earn it. The next time you face disrespect, noise, or toxic drama, remember your immense power. Choose silence. Choose stillness. Choose to be the 1% of men who cannot be moved by the wind. I want to thank you for watching. If you stayed until the very end, you have already proven that your attention span and desire for growth are superior to the masses. Now, it is time to take massive action. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and step permanently into the ranks of those who master themselves. Before you go, leave a comment below and answer this critical question. Which of the 8 lessons are you going to implement in your life starting today? Stay strong, stay focused, stay entirely untouchable.